Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Okay, welcome everybody to the Area 111 live stream. This is your host, RH, coming at you again from the beautiful, sunshiny, dark state of Florida. It's dark. It's nighttime, of course. It's after 9 o'clock. What, 9:22. I think I made it in 15 minutes. Hey, good to see you, Daniel. Tonight, I'm going to really focus on positive stuff to put out there about our current president and his cabinet members and all the good work they're doing against all the pushback and odds and all the fake news. And you have it, psychological warfare, which is still ongoing, reading their Mockingbird media scripts, everybody parroting the same thing, everything negative, So we're going to talk about President Trump taking over the microphone, well, not being rude about it, but he took over the press briefing today, and I watched a little bit of it, and I started to think, yeah, we want people to be held accountable for what they've done. If we look at just the invasion alone, that cost with the drug trafficking, fentanyl specifically, it cost out hundreds of thousands of lives. Hundreds of thousands of lives. Think about that. You got a large portion, in my opinion, of course, large portion of our government in Congress, and even you could say the judicial branch of government and the executive branch of government before January 20th of 2025. That basically financially benefited from the invasion into our country. And what we're going to talk about is the undoing the invasion, which includes a foreign military and terrorist insurgency into our country. This dawned on me. What President Trump released today, what he talked about today, was telling us the priority of holding people accountable. The priority of holding people accountable. Okay, so yeah, you're on the West Coast, Billings. Brilliance, right? Are you on the West Coast? Are you Hawaii? You're 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, is that the time zone? Yeah, well, I'm in the Eastern. Welcome everybody, no matter where you're from. I lived and served our country 17 years and 10 months outside of the United States. So, I haven't just been stuck in Florida, even though it's a beautiful sunshine state of Florida. Oh, I'd like to say something before I switch over to Rumble real quick and check out how everything's going on over there. But it's going to be a simultaneous live stream to both YouTube and Rumble. So I'm not leaving people here on YouTube when I go check on Rumble. But I like to let people know this is another positive thing. If you like the beaches in Florida, the weather on this coming 7th day, Saturday, is going to be 80 degrees. 80 degrees. I think tomorrow's going to be 75. Now, isn't that something positive to talk about? Believe me, I got a whole lot more things positive I can talk about. Yeah, so I will let me go check on Rumble real quick and I'll get back basically what President Trump basically reminded me today in his press conference, and I'm really, really starting to get a lot happier. Okay, and let's explain the focus of holding people accountable. The focus, the primary focus of holding people accountable. Okay, we'll get into that as soon as I get back. I'll check out Rumble real quick. Stand by. So if you haven't seen that place card holder video over on Rumble, that's one of those days I was in outside the United States of America, in a place where you can drive as fast as your car can take you, safely, I might add. That's the law over there. Some places you can drive as fast as you can on the Autobahn. Okay. And I took my 540 M Sport, 1997 540i M Sport, up to 170 miles an hour. Now, I forgot what car magazine it was in, but it was on the front cover. And the backdrop was the new Neuschwanstein Castle. But anyways, they rated that car, that 540i Sport, M Sport, BMW 6-speed, 8-cylinder, at 159 miles an hour. But that was redline in fifth gear. You still had a whole nother gear to go, as far as the M far work, motorsports far work, whatever they call it over there. I still had a whole nother gear to go, and sixth gear wasn't a granny gear. So guess what? I pegged it. And the person that was accompanying when I did that took the video off the speedometer, so you couldn't see, but you can basically see a little glimpse of it. What that is a loop. I tried to loop the video, edit the video, and loop it back and forth with a just continuous loop. It's the same few seconds, right? Maybe 30 seconds at the most that you're seeing. And one portion of that was driving up, and that was the that long jump platform, the Olympic platform. I think they call it Innsbruck. I think they call it Innsbruck, but we call it, was it? I think it was Austria. I can't remember. It's been so long ago. Yeah, I retired from active duty back in 2001, and I was there in the 90s. That was a 97 540i M Sport, which I could peg out at 170 miles an hour. Now I'm estimating, but the speedometer, it only had a dash at like 155, whatever. If you look at the speedometer close, if you can pause it and zoom in on it, I think it was 159 or 155 or whatever, something like that. But anyways, I pegged it. Actually, the needle rested on the peg, the speedometer. So, uh, that we're talking about a 4-door sedan, right? Comfort seats, 13-way comfort seats, uh, theater sound system, nav system, you name it. I think that was like the first first edition of DVDs or something like that. I can't remember, but it's very costly to try to keep up with the technology as fast as it moves. But anyways, so let me do a sound check here on Rumble, check and see how that's working. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. And so I'll try my best to be positive throughout the whole live stream. Okay. And sometimes being positive, I don't want to renege on the deal. But before I scoot back over to Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You see, they're still shadow banning this channel. They think they're slick, you know. They can actually capture your camera. So you look away 5 minutes, right? And if you don't catch it soon enough, they basically preempt your channel, which means they take away your connection, right? It's ridiculous. The the source reference I'm looking at now has nothing to do with the live stream. So I know they're doing it. And I do have a little bit of knowledge about networking because I was a system administrator for the Air Force for Novell, a Novell system administrator for the United States Air Force. Yeah, I actually install workstations. I administer the network, local area network, okay, and help people set up their workstations and all this stuff. And I know people don't like to hear it. Some people, oh, I'm embellishing my career. Okay, I'm embellishing my career with science fiction, right? You didn't hear me say my parents were aliens, extraterrestrial aliens, did you? So you think that would basically embellish my career in the Air Force by saying, okay, I was born by, my parents were extraterrestrial aliens from Alpha Centauri. Let's use Alpha Centauri, right? But anyways, I think some people know that watch this channel. They know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyways, yeah, I'm not bragging about the car. It's, it's, but I'm just into sports cars, whether the sports sedan, whatever, 4 doors, 2 doors, whatever. I've always liked I always liked those sport cars, especially when you have the freedom to drive as fast as your car can go in some spots over there in Europe. So anyways, I'm going to refresh the price of silver. So it was up over $95 an ounce today. The high, I think, was it's 94.87 plus 30, looks like 39 cents. Okay, so do the math. So it was a little over $95 an ounce, and that's not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. Now I got in a late. I know a lot of people got in was only like $30 an ounce, but look how long it sat going horizontal, not vertical, right? It might go up one little step or whatever, and then it go right back down. And silver is so underrated, because of all the uses silver has. There's more uses, in my opinion, than gold. But even if you could use gold as the same uses as silver is used for, gold. Who can afford? Like, was it gold at right now? Hold on a second. I didn't look at that. $4,840. You got to be kidding me, right? So silver is just basically just crawling, right? And here you got gold is up $66. Oh, $66.20. Give me a break. They're still holding it back. And I know who's holding it back, but good news is positive news, right? Positive reinforcement. I don't think there's no way they're going to stop it. Okay. Cause this is the the golden age of, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I just thought of something. Hold on. Golden age of American silver. Okay, so people that want to basically know where I'm getting that from, if you go to type in your browser sterling silver, if you go to that Wikipedia link for sterling silver. Scroll down to the history, the colonial history, okay? And remember the Sons of Liberty? Remember the Sons of Liberty? Remember Paul Revere? Remember people keep saying it's the golden age? They didn't fill in the blanks though. The golden age, okay? This is me. Now I might be overhyping this stuff because I want it to go up. Yeah, I do. Because I believe that silver, based on all the usage in it, and the best reflector of light, what do you reflect? Do you reflect darkness? You reflect light, right? You reflect light to other things. Like think about the Hubble telescope. Think about those huge observatories where they got these huge telescopes. What do you need with a telescope, in my opinion? What do you need as far as photography? You need reflection, right? Reflection, the best reflector. Now, tell me that RH is wrong. Tell me that RH is wrong. Look at this. Two people. And you know what they did? See, I've been at like they kept me at around 480 subs on YouTube, right? 480 subs on YouTube, so I can never be monetized. That's before they deplatform me. So I've been for years, over a couple years now, 3 years. I've been below 500, and when it just gets over 500, guess what? They removed some of my subscribers. So they removed some subscribers the other day. It jumped back down to 499. Now it went back up to 502 because I have some friends on another channel. Camo Carl came by and visited this channel last night. And then I went on his channel, but it got to be pretty late. I had things I had to do. Okay, but so if you look at the history of Paul Revere was a silversmith. Okay, he actually minted, I guess you would call it, the coins, right? So let me go talk about this now. This is really positive, people, and I'm going to talk about Greenland here in a minute. Greenland, y'all going to should be happy with Greenland. The Greenlanders should be happy with President Trump. They should be feeding in to all that stupid propaganda because basically Denmark has pretty much abandoned what that territory, whatever they call their own. I forgot. I let me go look at the population real quick again. Population of Greenland. Stand by. Yeah, I had a pretty cool conversation with on the panel last night with Camo Carl. In case you haven't heard of his channel, whatever, they had a great panel on last night. I enjoyed the communication. And there's somebody in chat. I watch chat sometimes. I watch Camo Carl's chat, and I do. They were kind of like one of those guys. I forgot his name. Reminded me, and that's two sources. So when you see two sources, a source that I don't even know, hey man, think about all the stuff that's good going on. Hey, there hasn't been one border crossing. How can you even do that? You know how far that border is? I mean, that's positive. So the population of Greenland is 55,600. Okay. The entire country, if you call it a country. 55,000. See, my device is nowhere near going in the battery save mode. They almost try to take me down again. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. This should be happening still. People that are behind this, they need to be held accountable. Hey, Justin, good to see you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. And if you haven't, hey, Ken, hey, I just caught you. Hey, thanks for being here. Yeah, what was it? Quebec? Quebec is they're having, was it Quebec? I get them mixed up. Or yeah, they're signing, they have to have I think 175,000 petitions. Is that how many petitions they need? If somebody can look that up, if you can put it in the chat, I really appreciate it. I'll put you up on the main screen. Okay. Thank you for your contribution. So people can help me out in the chat. I can't roll to the share my source references because they take me down. That's another way they get me to take me down. But anyways, yeah, because I'm exposing the stuff about AI, and one positive thing. Listen, that's why I'm trying to focus on positive things, right? Not all the bad things. They're already caught what they're trying to do with AI because they're already doing it. They jumped the gun for the midterms, and we'll talk about that. We caught them again. It's the same people. Remember the good cop, bad cop game they play with General Stanley McChrystal? Okay, I have to say, okay, this is my opinion, right? The good cop, bad cop. Remember how they made all that hoopla about the Rolling Stones interview comments that General McChrystal made? What happened after he left the military? It was a perfect plan, by the way, because I fell for it. I didn't realize what was going on until just a few days ago when I stumbled on an AI output. Remember, who's doing the inputs? Who's doing the algorithms? AI is an entity, autonomous intimate, what do you call it? Entity on its own. It's like I was talking about when I worked for NORAD. I manually inputted information into a semi-automatic computer. That computer took up a whole floor, vacuum tubes, all that stuff, right? Back in the day. So AI is basically programmed with the algorithms to be like 97% negative about the president of the United States. And see, in my opinion, he caught wind of it, and that's the reason why he joined the White House press briefing today in the West Wing, right? And he reminded us, and listen, we are not, MAGA is not, America First and MAGA is not divided like they claim. Yeah, there's some people jockeying around trying to get more, what do you call it? Monetization, whatever, you know what I mean? So they're jockeying around positions, to get more and more and more. That's the free market system, that's capitalism. If you're not on top of your game, you could lose out and your channel could actually slide down and be one of the worst. So anyway, as far as population or subscribers are concerned, followers. So I'm going to get to the positive deal. I'm going to share some of these source reference. Now remember, keep this in the back of your mind. There's only 55,600 to 56,885 people in Greenland. Okay, they call a country. And when I was watching this stuff before they were all the Greenland people were out there like I mean huge crowds waving the American flag and basically trying to get us to help them, right? And that's all we really want to do. Nobody's going to talk about we're going to put boots on the ground and go to war with the Greenlanders and the Europe. And that's all BS. That's all from the same what do you call that? Deep state BS that we hear every day. Well, it's good. The positive thing about it is we know their MO now. We know what they do, how their propaganda, how they subvert all these officials. They pay them off. They buy them off, just like our government. I hate to say this, but a large percent of our government, they're bought and paid for. They're not there representing us. We should all know that. So that's positive. Most of us should already know that by now. That's a positive statement that we know their MO. We know what they're doing. Because Donald Trump came in and upset their gravy card, right? Donald Trump got in their cookie jar. Donald Trump was a cookie burglar, not a hamburger. Well, I don't know. He might have been a hamburglar too. Remember the hamburglar for a McDonald's? So think about this, 55,000 to basically over 56, nearly 57,000 people in the entire country. Okay? So they say it's a territory of Denmark, but like Trump said in the press briefing today, because they basically sailed a ship over there 500 years ago, now they can Denmark can basically claim the entire it's a huge island, right? Greenland. I don't think there's any peninsula or whatever on Greenland, but anyway, I don't know. I have to look at the map again. I'm pretty sure it's a huge island, okay? And what we see depicted on the globe, Greenland isn't the same size as Africa. So they need to redo that globe, the depiction of Greenland on the globe. They're not. It isn't It isn't larger than Africa. Okay, the continent of Africa, Greenland, the country, is not the size of the continent of Africa. All right. So, anyways, even though when you look on the globe, they need to redo the whole globe. I know that costs a lot of money, and actually depict the proper, um, appropriate size of Greenland. So now I'll share that source reference I got. I didn't really look too much into it, but anyways, going back to the title real quick and refresh Rumble. I always have to refresh to make sure it's refreshed. Okay. So if y'all don't mind, if go over and subscribe over on Rumble as well. Hey, positive note. I'm gonna turn this into a positive note from a negative note, if you know what I mean. Full disclosure. RH's about to give full disclosure on his Rumble account. My total all-time views is nearly hit 100,000. 100,000. Guess what? My all-time earnings, monetized earnings, are $54.75. My all-time earnings for nearly 100,000 views is $54.75. Well, what's positive about that, RH? That's like 3 years of live streaming, right? Nearly 100,000 views of live streaming. $54.75. What's positive about that, RH? God, that ain't nothing in a fiat currency, right? It ain't nothing. Well, it's better than nothing. No, it is something. I can go to Steak and Shake and buy like, let's see, 4 double cheesesteak burgers, I guess you call them, at Steak and Shake, a order of onion rings, and a medium Coke or Sprite, since it doesn't have caffeine. It's positive to drink stuff without caffeine if you got a sleep disorder like RH does. That's positive. I mean, we could go down this road right about turning that positive glass over to it being all negative and turning it to the positive. And you see that little sand starts streaming into the positive hourglass or whatever you call that. You know what I mean? So let's go. Let's go. 328 total followers on Rumble. Wow. No, a lot of people don't like Rumble. I like Rumble. As far as I know, they've shadow banned me as well on Rumble. That's the way it is. Rumble is a Canadian base, but far as that goes, when they shadow ban you, you can't really notice it on Rumble. That's what I kind of like about it. Well, maybe they're not doing it. Maybe that's just all RH's imagination. But remember, what's positive about Rumble? When they deplatform me on YouTube, I had friends. I had friends in the community that got me over to 100 subs on followers on Rumble, and I continued on doing my live streams on Rumble after they deplatformed me on YouTube multiple times. So that's a positive thing. See how you can do this, how we can spin around being all positive. The positive thing about that is, RH, what is positive about that? Well, I was introduced to Rumble. Okay? And people started giving me donations after I told everyone, please don't do that. Don't do it. RH doesn't want to be monetized. That was back then. It isn't now. I never really wanted to worry about cashing out the $54.75. I wasn't interested. That's not the reason why I got into live streaming to begin with. I got into live streaming so my voice could be heard. So our community, people in our community, they can use RH as a voice. They can write in the chats and basically tell me, hey, let's talk about this a little bit more, RH. How you doing? How's your family doing? And we talk together and we need help or whatever. We try to divert attention over to wherever these individuals need help at. So we got to start sticking together. Christians especially, especially. We have our First Amendment rights is freedom of worship. You don't go in there and block our freedom of worship. That's against the law, period. You see how they spin it? Oh, this is our right of speech. Freedom of speech. That's our freedom of speech. We can go in there and basically stop worshiping, stopping the freedom of worship so they can just basically go in. So that's what's positive about it. RH is shining some light on it, positive light on that. They could be held accountable. FaceTime or whatever they call it to the law they broke. So you hold them accountable so they won't do it again. And that's positive. If you don't hold them accountable, they're going to keep on doing it. That's negative. You hold them accountable. That's what laws are for. Laws is to basically encourage a moral society. And they're all based off of whether people like this statement or not. Even our court system is based off of our holy scriptures, the Word of God. Like the Ten Commandments. Isn't it against the law to murder somebody? Yes. Isn't it against the law to steal from somebody? Isn't it against the law, to basically libel, slander somebody? Well, okay, you can get sued civilly, right? Libel, slandering people. That's false witnessing against your neighbor, right? So, I have no problem with honoring our father and mother. We don't go out there and we don't go and honor the possible bad things our parents uh, have done. We honor our mother and father because they parented us. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Isn't that something to be positive about? Out of all the things, maybe, might have had, very horrible parents, maybe alcoholics or drug addicts or whatever. Hey, we're here. We have life. And without God, our creator, we wouldn't be here at all, period. Our parents wouldn't be here. So let's go. No, I kind of like got off on that side road again. But so, okay. So $54, I can go to Steak and Shake and have 5 double steak burgers, fries, and a drink, a soft drink. Okay, so anyways, that's positive. Oh, there's a trick. If you have Steak and Shake where you're at, you can go in and buy. There's a special menu for the double steak burger. It's like normally number 1 on the menu when you go through the drive-through. If you just get that the steak burger and a small order fries, it's only like $5. Oh, there's something positive right there. RH just figured out, right? The guy at the window told me that, right? And I didn't know that. I said, well, thanks a lot. Because a lot of us have drinks at home, right? So you drive through the drive-through and say, I want that menu where I just want that number 1 steak burger, double steak burger, right? And a small order fries. I got my drink at home. And confirmed with them that it's only like $5, right? Before you pay for it. Now, I can't say if you have a Steak and Shake in California that meal's going to be only $5, but if they have that on the menu too as well, that order, you can get money back on that. But anyways, okay, so let's get to the sterling silver real quick. Okay, this is under the Wikipedia for people to understand. Where's RH getting the golden age of American silver? Where am I getting that? Okay, so the sterling silver, silversmiths basically use sterling silver to basically be able to craft silver like goblins, whatever you call it. What do you call those goblins? The drinking glasses, like tea sets, like the tea kettles, whatever, and the silver trays that you put the silverware on, to carry them to the table. But the amount of silver in sterling silver isn't 999, it's 925, so they can shape the objects, right? They can shape the objects, so if you go to the sterling silver Wikipedia article, whatever you call it, and scroll down to history, go down to history, and go go down to in colonial America, sterling silver was used for currency and general goods as well in colonial America. Between 1634 and 1776, some 500 silversmiths created items in the New World, ranging from simple buckles to ornate rococo coffee pots. Okay. Although silversmiths of this era were typically familiar with all precious metals, they primarily worked in sterling silver because it's more craftable. They put in like they added like copper with it or whatever, or nickel. What? Okay, so let me go down and skip a couple paragraphs, and when I get to the American Revolutionary, Paul Revere was regarded as one of the best silversmiths from this golden age of American silver. Okay, talking about that golden age of American silver. They're talking about it now here, and they're running with it. It's a great PR campaign, right? Uh, so to use that term, golden age of American silver. Following the Revolutionary War, Revere acquired and made use of silver rolling mill from a silver rolling mill from England. Not only did the rolling mill increase its production, hammering and flattening silver took most of a silversmith's time. He was able to roll and sell silver of appropriate uniform thickness to other silversmiths. He retired a wealthy artisan, his success partially due to his strategic investment. Although he is celebrated for his beautiful hollowware, Revere made his fortune primarily on low-end goods produced by the mills, such as flatware. With the onset of the first industrial revolution, silversmithing declined as an artistic occupation. Okay, so that's the source reference on, and they use quotation marks. Okay, in this sentence right here, the American revolutionary Paul Revere was regarded as one of the best silversmiths from this golden age of American silver. Talking about the Revolutionary War days. Okay. So now we're talking about the golden age, right? Returning to the golden age. So I believe there's a lot of comps, like Melania Trump, for example, wore a beautiful silver gown to party on New Year's Eve night, along with our president. Very beautiful gown. I like to try to get a photograph of that, maybe share that in case you can look it up and just basically Google search it, right, for yourselves. But, anyways, now I know this is going off topic tonight of Greenland because I'm going to talk about Greenland again. Real quick. There was a source reference that I didn't remember the actual. Okay. This is basically refutation, refutation of Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger's. So Raffenperg is Pergers, not burgers, right? And remember, this focuses around uh, Fulton County, Georgia. This is why this is very important. Now, the information came out from Voter GA. Voter GA. It's an organization that oversees, make sure elections are free and fair, right? Okay. This is a PDF. Now, this is a study. This is an investigation here I'm talking about now. This has already been concluded like in 2022. Okay. The title of this source reference is very, very important. This is going to be coming up because this is positive. Okay. Once they start focusing on that, the president and his cabinet focusing on that, right? This is already locked and loaded, meaning the information is already there, ready, available to be provided to people on the silver tray. Okay, a fine silver tray. We're gonna spoon feed it with fine 999 silver spoons. Spoon feed that to the American people that don't have time basically to do their own research, and that's positive. Okay, this source reference, Voter GA, is from voterga.org. Okay, the PDF is called, the article is called Reputation of Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Okay, go check it out. Go read it. It's like only 18 pages. And that's the subversion letter they got to the objectors so they couldn't show the the world cannot hear the election fraud evidence being read into record on J6. They're caught, people. I'm telling you, they're caught. That's positive. They're caught. It's just waiting for that gavel to come down, right? It's just waiting for that gavel to come down. Okay, so I'm going to switch up here now. I'm going to switch up here real quick. So, I'm not getting in this to basically sell silver, but that's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, sometimes we need a little bit of help every now and then. If y'all want a more professional um, live stream, like a studio type live stream from RH, I'm going to need a little bit of help. I'm not bashful or not ashamed to say that. I'm not rich. I didn't join the Air Force in 1978 at 17 years old to basically be rich. Okay? I joined to serve my country. Like many other members of my family, direct family, uncles, my dad, you name it. I won't go into it any further. Okay? Okay, so before I leave this, my source reference page, I'm going to refresh this one. So aftermarket, people are taking some what do you call it? Profits off of what their positions were. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of that, you know. But anyways, yeah, they keep on trying to time out, like, go put this phone in to where I notice it's doing this a lot. Let me see. So I got to keep an eye on it. they have a lot of programs running in the background. It could basically that's whatever. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. No sense in talking about it. So let me make sure Rumble is still up and going fine on the live stream side of the house. Okay. Stand by. Have to refresh Rumble. When I go in to start reading off on source references, I have to always come back and refresh Rumble. Now, I want to talk about this payment that we made to Greenland real quick. And we're talking about these 55,000. Um, okay. Stand by. I got to make sure I get the right source reference so y'all can read it for yourself. Now, those source references are over on area 111 without the space on True Social on my profile. So you scroll down, you'll see the article I'm talking about, okay, that I'm about to discuss here real quick. And positive. We're talking positive now. Now, this all focuses around Thule, Greenland. For those that don't know, we've had a military base there. It was NORAD, part of NORAD, going all the way back to the 50s, right? We had, um, yeah, hold on a second. Thule, that's for your own information, Thule, Thule, Greenland. So, I believe that was in 2020. Okay, now this was a press release December 17th of 2022. The United States shares a long history of close cooperation with the Danish and Greenlandic governments and maintenance of Thule is vital. Okay. Now the article I saw was in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I got that over there on my True Social page. So this is from the U.S. Embassy in Copenhagen, Denmark, December 17th of 2022. The United States Department of the Air Force announced December 16th that it has awarded a new maintenance contract for Thule Air Base in Greenland to Inuksuq AS, a Greenlandic joint venture company, 51% owned by the majority partner Permagreen Greenland AS and 49% owned by minority partner Vectrus Services Greenland APS. The United States shares a long history of close cooperation with the Danish and Greenlandic governments, and maintenance of Thule is vital to our shared defense partnership, okay, and Arctic research. The new maintenance contract was awarded consistent with relevant agreements and arrangements between the United States and the Kingdom of Denmark. The contract covers a 12-year ordering period and includes a maximum of $3.95 billion to provide operations and maintenance services for the base. These services include airfield operations, civil engineering, environmental management, food services, health services, supply and fuel logistics, non-secure communications, seaport, transportation, transient quarters, vehicle maintenance, and community and recreation services. So they're expected to begin initial services under the contract in early 2023 with a takeover of full management of services on October 1st, 2023. Okay. So the Greenlandic people for the most part were basically benefiting from that basically is a foreign aid to help maintain and improve Thule Greenland, that base that we have there. Okay, so hold on a second. Now I want to find the one that's in 2022. So because 2020, I think it was. Hold on a second. Of course, you got the Mockingbird media articles where they parrot the same negative stuff about Trump. You got to sift through all of those, right? If you got patience and sifting through it, going through pages and pages of, source references, you'll eventually land on what you want. You might have to change out browsers, but you'll find it eventually. Greenland, Denmark deploys advanced troops like we're going to go in there and invade our allies, right? And go to war with our allies. And we're just going to take Greenland. Well, you could say most of Greenland's pretty much we already paid for it. So they can't afford it. Wow, you see, you scroll all the way down, you can't find that main article. Man, I gotta find that article. I don't want to lose a live stream looking it up, but I'm pretty sure in 2020, when Trump was the president, we sent over $4 billion already to Greenland. and 2022 another 3.95 billion, right? Man, just pages and pages of fake news about this. I can't find out. Okay, when I come back on the live stream, I'll have that source reference already sorted it out, and I'll find it and I'll read it to you. But you can go find that on my Area 111 live stream, not live stream, Area 111 profile at Truth Social on my profile, okay, page. So let me get back over to the live stream and talk about what President Trump wants us to refocus on, what their priority is, and why some of us are getting impatient as far as accountability goes. And I have to remind people they've expanded Gitmo, right? And we go, oh, well, they might be expanding it because of the extraditing these illegals, whatever, and they need a staging point for that. That's part of it. I would say that's part of it, right? Especially when it's very dangerous people we're talking about. Okay, so getting back to the YouTube side of the house things again. And so for anyone to basically go check out this is positive now. Trump want to reaffirm what their priority is right now, as far as holding people accountable. Now, the President of the United States inherited this stuff from Biden's third term. What's positive about this is we know what they did now. We have hindsight 2020 vision. 2020 vision. That's positive, isn't it? So what did Trump basically get us to understand, to refocus on the priorities? Well, remember when we were filling out all those, surveys for Trump? What do we have first on the top priority? What was our top priority first? Securing the border, right? That was one of the top priorities from MAGA and American First supporters, or our community. That was one of the top priorities. Has Trump done that? Has Trump secured our border? Land, air, and sea borders, by the way, I might add. We got some problems, insider problems in our country as far as not having full sovereignty over our airspace, but they're rooting that out, believe me. They're rooting it out. And what am I talking about? Chemtrails. They're rooting that out. They banned it in Florida so far, but remember, you got some rogue corporations out there that already been awarded the contracts. So they have to basically, they're either going to spray like the calcium carbonate, they're going to reflect the sun's rays back to space or whatever, or back out the sun and all that BS, right? That they're spraying in our skies. We have no idea what they're spraying. God only knows. And we need to have, and basically when we point it out and we show the pictures, right, that's positive, because we're going to need these stations. We're going to have stations. They're going to have to set up stations to have observers to monitor our airspace to make sure it isn't some type of hostile state actor working from their own country, working in a buying these overflights to spray this poison over our skies. Remember, we are indirectly in wars all around the world when we're being attacked, or all that kind of thing. You got all that stuff going on in Gaza and Israel and Middle East and Iran,
And these people are trying to make a war about Greenland. And it doesn't even belong to them. We could go back to the history, just like President Trump said. Just because a ship set anchor there off the shore of Greenland doesn't give Greenland to Denmark. That's ridiculous. We have provided more help to those 56,000 people, Greenlanders, than Denmark can ever imagine. Denmark cannot afford, like, even to maintain Thule, Greenland. And there's a pact already made about that. They should be sending troops. German troops? Are you kidding me? Those are our allies in NATO. I worked with those people over there when I was stationed overseas as far as the Status Forces Agreement, and when I actually worked in NATO assignments. I worked directly right next to these people. Okay? And there are some of them that are really narcissistic, like look down, oh, we're the new world. We're just a new kid on the block, right? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of positive rebuttal as far as that goes, and I won't get into it. But anyways, so what is President Trump trying to reinforce? Listen, promises made, promises kept. Secure that border. Think about the terrorism that was going on in that border. Just on the other side of the border. Think about all those bones, the graveyards, before they even got into our country. That's all stopped. It's all stopped. Trump put a stop to it. Remember, they were in Biden's third term. They diverted the congressionally allocated funds to finish that border wall. What did they reallocate it to? They diverted that funding. I think it was like $1 billion. They basically just stole it. A GSA supervisor under a subcommittee interview under oath said that basically they diverted the border wall funding, congressionally allocated border wall funding, to environmental restoration. Basically, they just stole it. They stole the money. So what's positive about that? All right, that's horrible. Yes, it is horrible. But finding it out and getting some of that money back is positive. That money should go back to the American people, or give it to veterans that are homeless on the streets in California, wherever they are. Give them a ticket to Florida, and let's help, Habitat for Humanity, build them a house. Okay? That's positive, isn't it? So let me get back to this. So what is the other thing that President Trump is talking about? Remember, I talked about this. What's positive about RH continuing to talk about Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, the supreme law of the land? What is positive about it? It basically gives the justification or the power of the president and CIC, which stands for Commander-in-Chief, to basically stop the invasion, which he's already done. That's positive. Promises made, promises kept. He stopped the invasion. That was one of his primary constitutional responsibilities, to do that. What is it? What now? What are they moving into now? What have they already moved into? They secured the border, just like he promised, right? His cabinet helped him secure that border. What did he do next? Undo the invasion by sending back these criminals, focusing. The priority of President Trump is basically capturing illegal, criminal, hardened criminals out of our country, murderers, drug traffickers, child traffickers, sex traffickers, women traffickers, organ traffickers, organ traffickers, money laundering traffickers, like I said, drug traffickers, weapons traffickers. He's going after them all. Drug traffickers, of course, like fentanyl. So guess what? Over 100,000 people died of fentanyl alone. He stopped 97%. They stopped 97% of that fentanyl coming into our country. Those boats and sea-based trafficking into our country. That's positive. They're stopping it at the source. That's positive. Yes, we can keep going on and on and on, right? We can keep going on and on and on, and we can keep on dwelling on the negative things if you want to, right? You have a right to dwell on whatever you want to, but in my opinion, I'm not like this. This is not me, totally. That's not me. That's not RH. I'm not a guy that's half empty type of guy. I am not. I know the problems I need to correct in my own life, and I correct them. That's positive. Okay, I got a problem. First step is to make it become positive. You got to recognize there's a problem to begin with, like the live streams, right? That's a problem. I don't want to hear some nut job screaming at me through my TV, whatever. Sometimes I do get passionate. I understand that. That's because I care. I care. That's because they block my voice. They block my voice from being heard because they know the information that I share on this channel can hold a lot of people accountable for some very bad things. Some very bad things. And basically highlighting those bad things isn't bad. You have to basically expose them. You have to shine the light on them to expose them. Right? And they're being exposed in the precious metals arena. Remember why I talk about it. The best reflective substance out there. Metal, silver, reflection. Reflecting the light, God's light onto the onto the world, not just the American population, but to the world. Now, the Greenlanders got to decide. You want to remain subjects to the crown, or do you want your freedom? There's 56,000 of you out there. And a lot of y'all know English. If you're given a European type education, because that's the requirement. I think there's 5 years of English. Why? Why? Oh, that's racist. Okay, that's xenophobic. They should be able to talk whatever language they want to talk about. Well, think about that. Think about you got a pilot up there and you got an air traffic controller going, okay, turn left, snap left, vector left. You're going to run into another airplane. What did he say? Hold on a second. In their language, they're saying, what did he say? What did RH say? RH said, snap vector left, 090. So the snap vector left is 090. Where you got to be? Which direction? You snap left, 90 degrees, wherever you're at, from your position, to avoid a near miss or collision in the sky. Oh, I can't understand English. I can't understand what RH is saying. He speaks American. He's from the South. It don't work that way. English is the international language. As far as air travel, What else? What else? Well, I think that's enough, isn't it? I don't know about anybody else, but I don't plan on learning Mandarin or Russian. No, no pun on those people that are basically in China or Russia that are just victims of circumstance, right? Do you think the majority of Russians wanted to go to war in Ukraine? Do you think the majority of Russians that once they wanted to see their young men and women die in a needless war that should have never happened before to begin with? What is Russia, Vladimir Putin, and uh, Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister? What is your objective in the war in Ukraine? I heard the objective is from Putin that you're going to basically take out all Nazis. How's that even? How do you even know if somebody's a Nazi? Are you going to put them on a polygraph test or something? Because they're wearing an old patch from World War II? Yeah, I mean that you might be able to root those people out. You're going to stop. You're going to stop the fascists, right? The fascists. Well, I want. What do y'all have some writers in our country that are anti-fascist? You got some writers in our country that are anti-fascist. You know, they've caused a lot of problems, right? The communist USA dot what is it? Org? Communist US Intifada? Let's see here. Oh, believe me, I'm not trying to start another war or uh to spread that war even further than where it's at. Let's see here. What's that little what is that hold on a second. Remember, all of Obama's mentors pretty much were communists. Yeah, you got the sickle and the hammer, right? Build the party of the revolutionary communists of America. Those are anti-fascist, right? They're on our streets. Look at how proud they are marching on our streets, right? Now you go in and when you're looking that up, Revolutionary Communists of America. Let me see where Communists of America podcast, right? Join your party. It's our party. No, it ain't my party. It's antithetical to the U.S. Constitution, where you take over, the government takes over private property, right? And they decide who can have property or not, right? Oh, say you're not going to own anything and you're going to be happy, right? Is that what you're going to? I'm pretty sure the people that support this channel that are MAGA and America First people, I'm pretty sure we don't want the government taking over our private property, right? And deciding who can buy what or this or that, whatever. You know what I mean? I heard they passed a law in Florida that they're going to do away with a permitting deal. So that's good news, right? You think about it, that's where the government decides if you can actually have that property unless you do whatever they tell you to do. So let me look up a different. So there
Intifada. Intifada is with the revolutionaries. Those are rioters. Those are violent people. Really violent. So what's positive about that, RH? Yeah. It's to basically shine that light on them so they can basically start focusing on that whenever they finish basically finish up with priority one, which is getting those. Well, it could say priority 1 and 2 were both being ran at the same time. Securing the border and basically where they can't keep coming back and in with their goods or whatever. So they got foreign state support, foreign funding, right? In these riots in our country. Isn't it kind of funny why people don't want to? Okay. Now, if you go to do this Google search, communistusa.org, and go to the, basically type in your browser, Communist USA, one word, and do a space bar, do a space Intifada. That's INTIFADA. Antifa, basically, the anti-fascists, those are communist organizations. These are radical, revolutionary, violent communists. So remember that? Those anti-ICE people that went into the church? Oh, all right. So I think you might be onto something. And there's nobody viewing the channel, right? Okay, so I shared the source reference. So I'll get back to YouTube real quick, refresh both channels before they take me down again, because I'm exposing them, which is positive. Shining a light on these people that might be doing, I'm saying might, just my opinions. You can go to their own website and read it from their own words. What does Article 4 say? Article 4 of the United States Constitution, what does it state? United States shall guarantee to each state in this union a republican form of government and will ensure against invasion and against domestic violence. That's a law, the supreme law of our land. We don't go, okay, well, they have a right to protest, right? Right to lie, steal, murder, cheat, whatever, block freedom of worship. They got that right? No, they don't. Does our Constitution say that the United States is guaranteed to be a socialist democrat country? A form of government? Does our U.S. Constitution say that the United States guarantees to each state and union a socialist democrat government? No, it says republican government. That's the way our founders set it up. And that's the reason why these radical revolutionaries are out there pulling down history, like in the forms of a statue or whatever. Hey, nobody's going out there worshiping these statues. It's just a reminder of our history. What do they say? If you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. So we allow that to invade our country. That's predominantly who came into our country. People from socialist, communist type countries. They got socialist or communist governments. That's one of the main reasons why they help facilitate and direct the invasion. Because Barack Obama is a communist. He served his third term with his vice president, Joe Biden. They told us
okay, let me get the source reference so everybody can have it. So you're not going to say RH is out of his mind or whatever. Snopes. Okay, in your Google search bar, whatever search bar you have, DuckDuckGo or whatever, type in Obama Vice President for third term Snopes. Snopes. Now, Snopes was the Democrats and the radical left's fact check go-to site, right? And the title of this isn't just a normal little, this isn't a fact check. This is comms. Obama serving as a president for a third term with Vice President Joe Biden. Remember, Biden said, I'll always call you my president, whatever. And Barack Obama called him vice president. After Biden was in office, we knew who was running the show. Well, there's people, the communists that are controlling Obama for the New World Order. Obama already got the United States into $1 trillion, what do you call that? Green New Deal. A Green New Deal scam. And who was his joint partner? Who was the communist Barack Obama's joint partner in the Green New Deal $1 trillion scam, stealing $1 trillion from the American people? The CCP, the Communist Chinese Party President Xi. This is all facts out there. They are all facts. They almost overthrew our entire country in 4 years, from 2021 to 2025, when Trump got in office. That stopped it. They stopped it. They hit the brakes right away. They're still trying to overthrow the president of the United States with their lawfare and the malicious prosecutions. So if you go into this article, now this article was basically put out there from the founder of Snopes, David Mickelson. And the title of it is, Could Barack Obama Serve as Vice President? And it says here right after that, an ambiguity in the U.S. Constitution allows for speculation about a backdoor method of getting around presidential term limits. So they basically exposed Snopes. So in my opinion, we exposed Snopes, putting out these comms. They wasn't basically fact checks. This is exactly what they had planned. They said, basically, Snopes said, David Mickelson, the founder of Snopes, said that the left-wing go-to place for disinformation checks or fact checks. That's why you see Joe Biden with his arms crossed, right? And Barack Obama with his arms crossed, with his little eyeshadow on, right? Barack Obama wearing his eyeshadow so he can look the best he can be. Be all you can be, Brock. Well, I need a little bit of blue blush on my eyelids here, right? Golly. You need a new makeup person, Brock. I mean, it might be the gothic look. I don't know. Maybe you're trying to look like a pharaoh. You kind of run the country like one. So let's see here. And everybody was afraid. They couldn't even think about impeaching Barack Obama. They couldn't even think about why, because they're afraid there's going to be a rice, a race war in our country or another civil war. That's why they didn't ever hold Obama accountable, because of his roots, his far left roots. You know, talking about 9/11, did you hear Barack Obama's mentor? Did anybody even read the Communist Manifesto that was planned to be printed and released, published on September 11, 2001? Did anybody even read that? The Communist Manifesto. While everybody's looking everywhere else. Who was involved in bombing of government buildings? Who was involved in bombing the Pentagon? Barack Obama's mentor, Bill Ayers. He put out a Communist Manifesto. He planned to have it released on September 11, 2001. These people knew, they had insider knowledge. What was so important for the communists about September 11, 2001? It was the 30-year anniversary of the Soviet premier's death, Nikita Khrushchev, the Ukrainian. Now, tell me that ain't positive, because I'm guaranteeing 99% of the people out there in our community have never heard this before. Unless you heard it on my channel, because I've talked about it many times. We're looking in every different direction. Every different direction. And there's a lot of money that's out there to get people to remain silent. You have a right to remain silent and ride all the way to the bank, laughing all the way to the bank and riding off into your sunset, right? For committing treason and selling out our own country. Good job. Good job, you communists. Great job. You screwed yourself in the process. Look at the streets in your cities and your states, your sanctuary crime states and your cities. Great job, don't you think? And trying to overthrow our country? This isn't a lie here. What I'm telling everyone is, and what's positive about it, we're starting to shine the light on it. That's the reason why they're trying feverishly to overthrow this president and this government again. They were successful. We have hindsight 2020, perfect vision to know what they already did. Go read their subversion letter. Why do you think they needed to evacuate out the Capitol building on J6? So they can give them the subversion letter. I'd like to hear their intel that they got. It was all Donald Trump was an insurrectionist. Before any investigation, that's what the Mockingbird media already concluded. They concluded it before the riots, the peaceful protests became to be violent on both sides. You know, somebody set off a GBS, ground burst simulator, only 20 feet from my pup tent. You know, when I was asleep, because I worked till it was daylight, setting up our equipment when I was deployed. Guy named Frenchie. I think he was a master sergeant or tech sergeant at the time. He thought he was being smart to get people out of the cots, pup tents, right? So he set off a damn ground burst simulator. My ears started ringing. My ears still ring today. I didn't really probably notice it before, but really started noticing it today. It's same as, what do you call those, shot grenades they were using at the Capitol that day.
and it gave somebody like a concussion. Shock bang grenades out. What are they called? People, anybody in the chat? Let me put my old man glasses on, see if there's any. So nobody on the live stream. They stopped watching the live stream. I'm into this 1 hour and 35 minutes. Nobody even here. Okay, the source references to read the Communist Manifesto that was released on the 30-year anniversary of the Ukrainian Nikita Khrushchev's death. That's, in my opinion, why the communists basically planned that attack on that day. And the reason why they chose the trade towers, because that's the symbol of capitalism. Symbol of capitalism. So go read Bill Ayers. The title of that article that was planned by Bill Ayers in the New York Times. So to me, it suggests, it alleges that the New York Times had foreknowledge of the attack on September 11, 2001. Go read the manifesto of Bill Ayers. No Regrets for the Love of Explosives, memoir of sorts. The Weather Underground guy, right? That mentored Obama in his home in Hyde Park in Chicago. Come on now. I mean, this is ridiculous. Why do we think they dredged up Robert Mueller to be special counsel? Hey, Rob. Hey, Bob. Whatever. We're going to give you $1 million. Don't worry. We already got the team of 18 angry Democrats. You don't have to do anything. Just go out there and, represent the, Office of Special Counsel. Just represent it. We're going to do all the work for you. Why'd they choose Robert Mueller? Let me get back over to YouTube over here real quick. Maybe they shut the channel down already. I don't know it. Well, if they shut down the channel and their volume was basically, they muted my volume or whatever, they shut me down on YouTube, you can always go over to Rumble and basically listen to the entire live stream. So I'm going to refresh YouTube again real quick. So that article, the New York Times article, you can find it to this day. Just type in your browser. No Regrets for the Love of Explosives. Memoir of sorts. Weather Underground leader. The communist guy, right? He's making jokes about it. Wow. That would be like the first people I bring in an interview. Oh, they say, Robert Mueller, he can't handle any type of interview now, right? BS, they're just covering their own. Okay? Test. Is there anybody out there? It's 11 p.m. I've been at like over an hour and 30 minutes now. Testing. This is ridiculous. So why did they choose Robert Mueller for special counsel? Well, he was the guy in charge of 9/11, wasn't he? He was FBI director, 9/11. The Fort Hood shooting, Major Hassan, right? Remember? Who was the FBI director? That would be Robert Mueller. What about the Boston bombing? Tsarnaev brothers, right? The oldest brother. Remember, Russia flagged the U.S. State Department to Tsarnaev? I forgot his first name. Remember? He was supposed to be under the watch list, right? So much for that watch list, huh? Robert Mueller was the FBI director in charge. By the way, from January 20th, 2009 to whenever Robert Mueller left in 2013, he worked for the Biden administration. That's why they called back Robert Mueller. He was one of their own. Oh, Bush hired him, right? Under the recommendation of Poppy Bush, right? They gave all these people a free pass, in my opinion. You think about it. A prime suspect, you could think, oh, it was Saddam Hussein in Iraq, right? That's what they said, right? It was what's his name? The Saudi Arabian. What's his name again? I forgot his name. Bin Laden. Oh, that's right. Bin Laden. I forgot. I have a flashing news report here. I'm going to share a flashing news report, breaking news report on Area 111 live stream. Flashing news report. This is going to be a conspiracy theory. All I have to do is type in BI for Bin Laden. I got a conspiracy theory I want to put out there for the world, right? This is Fox News report, breaking news, Fox News, but the breaking news day was December 26, 2001. The report, Bin Laden already dead. Fox News. Did you hear me? Do you all understand why RH raises his voice? Because nobody is talking about this stuff. Nobody. These people nearly overthrew our country in the 4 years that Biden was running the show again. During their third term. They nearly completely destroyed our country. With the invasion. And so what are they doing now? They're focusing on, and President Trump, when he took over the podium during the White House press briefing today, still today, right? Yep. Still 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He brought out a huge book. They gave it to him. I guess the White House press corps gave him all that information, all those pictures of all those people that committed heinous crimes in our country, right? That they got out, they're getting out first. I think they've already gotten out in Minnesota. I think 10,000 criminals. They've already deported 10,000 criminals or put them in jail, whatever, waiting to be deported. So, this is the report. And they say, okay, it could be, what do you call that? Taliban disinformation. Why report it then? Well, this was reported when? First published on December 26, 2001. Report, fashion news flash, report, Bin Laden already dead. They told us in December 26, 2001. At the same time, the Northern Alliance disbanded, by the way. That was one of their missions, the Northern Alliance. Who worked with the Northern Alliance? That would be Russia and Iran, too. Just as I'm pretty sure Iran worked in that, too, as well. Go check it out. Go look at the coalition.
Ukraine. Ukraine was in on it, right? Osama bin Laden has died a peaceful death due to an unrelated lung complication, the Pakistan Observer reported, citing a Taliban leader who alleges attended the funeral of the Al-Qaeda leader. That's the top line of that article. I don't need to go into it anymore. The same time that the Northern Alliance disbanded, Fox News puts out a report that bin Laden was already dead. Okay, they updated that report when? On January 13th of 2015. It seems to me they knew there was going to be a new sheriff coming to town, so they wanted to be straight with the people. And they wanted to be there first. Bin Laden already dead. He died back in December. In the report, he died somewhere around December of 2001. But he was already dead. So, December 26, 2001, if it was before this article was printed, that they're basically reciting a remark the Taliban leader made that he's already dead. So, did he die before September 11th, 2001, or did we kill him in a bombing strike in Tora Bora, the mountains of Tora Bora, Afghanistan? That's where everybody said that they killed him in the cave in a bombing operation, but they needed that boogeyman, right? To do what? To transition the Northern Alliance or the operations going on in where? In Afghanistan. They took back over Kabul, the capital. They took out the Al-Qaeda leader. That was one of their mission requirements for the Northern Alliance, which we were part of, a major part of in Afghanistan. That's before. We're running that Northern Alliance since about 1992, about a year after Desert Storm. We were already in the Afghanistan, working as part of the Northern Alliance. So this all makes sense why Northern Alliance disbanded at the end of 2001, right? I was still on active duty December 26, 2001 for another 4 days. Well, no, that's not a true statement. I was already retired for, I think it was 25 days or 26 days after that report. It's already retired December 1st, 2001, because I couldn't be deployed. So they updated that article, in my opinion, because they knew there was going to be a new sheriff coming to town. So they updated that report, the report they initially put out on December 26, 2001, report bin Laden already dead. That's the title of the article. Updated January 13, 2015. Now, somebody calls me a conspiracy theory. Maybe my comms aren't clear enough. This is factual information. What I'm talking about, the Northern Alliance, I've talked about many times on this channel. People haven't heard. They go, I guess it's too boring. It's not about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I guess. Maybe what the topics I'm talking about. Maybe we were misguided and looking in the wrong direction. That's how psychological warfare operations run. That's how they work. Okay, so getting back to the YouTube channel again, real quick. 0 people from thousands of viewers on single live streams to 0 viewers. 0 viewers. Right. Okay. If I'm wrong, put the evidence in the chat. Am I wrong about that article that Fox News put out? Am I wrong about the Communist Manifesto that Bill Ayers put out on September 11th to be published and at the newspaper stands at dark 30 before the first plane hit the tower? I'm not saying there's no planes. I'm not saying that. I think it'd be almost impossible for, Project Bluebeam to project a airplane flying right over a commercial airliner flying right over the streets of New York, whatever, and striking the trade tower. Who knows? Maybe they got some advanced alien technology that they used. Because it sure looked like planes to me, except for the one that hit the Pentagon. Get back to the live side of things here. So, if we want to hear the positive things that Trump has done already in just such a short time, what is it today? Is it 20th? The 20th day, President Trump basically raised his right hand and affirmed his oath. Support, defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and have true faith and allegiance to the same. Means you don't have dual citizenships. You got American citizenship, right? You don't have dual allegiances with other countries. You're American first all the way. And yes, he is American first all the way, and MAGA, making America great again, all the way. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. All the way. No, 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 no. Let's go all the way. Okay. A better way with all the way. Yes. Could be a better way. So, we went through the golden age of American silver, and think about what year this is. The golden age. 250th year anniversary on July 4th of our country's birthday. And, I don't know what the Europeans are all upset about Trump talking about buying Greenland. Make those 56,000 people on Greenland rich. They would make them. We've already basically, with the contracts they've gotten, the Greenlanders, they've basically gotten how do you divide like 4 billion into like 56,000 people? That's the total population of Greenland. $4 billion. If from my understanding, Trump is the one that initiated that payment because we needed Thule to be maintained properly and basically modified. Yeah, we've had Thule, Greenland since the 50s, like since 1951. During the Cold War era. Did we lose that war? No, we didn't lose that war. We basically have full rights to that country. We have full rights. And we can give those 56 Greenlanders, hey, I'm a Floridian. If you're the 51st state, you belong to the 50 other sovereign, independent U.S. states. You reap all the benefits, to include Social Security, everything. I'm pretty sure we can make the deal with the people. because I don't think you can basically live on a EU pension now once you retire. Are you 56,000 people that could identify yourselves as Greenlanders? Are you thinking about, are you looking into the future? I'm going to tell you the future right now, and it don't look very, very good. But the positive thing is there's an olive branch that's being held out to you. We are a team. Even though we're 50 and you become the 51st state in our union, you are a sovereign state, the right of your own. You're a Greenlander, the state of Greenland, of the United States of America, united. United we win, divided we fall. Don't fall for the deep state propaganda psyops operation. Don't fall for it. You 56,000 people over there. Don't fall for it. Now, let me see. Let me do a source reference search real quick. Demographics of Greenland. In my opinion, we are already brothers and sisters, because I know I could have been stationed in when I worked for NORAD, I could have been stationed in Greenland. Maybe I should have volunteered for it. Maybe I should have volunteered for your neighboring island country, Iceland. So, anyways, or I've gone to Alaska, so I could have kept jumping back and forth with working for NORAD. Let's see. Those people they pay, right, to go out there and do anything, right? They'll give, the EU's got about the same GDP as America, right? What, about $28 trillion a year GDP? Yeah, think about it. Hey, we'll give you all $1,000, right? If you go out there and protest against America right now, make it look like you don't want to join America and be a free and sovereign state in your own right, protected with all the rights as an American citizen. Think about it. Greenland demographics. Language. I got friends in Denmark too. Great people. You know, when we drove our convoy through, when I was in mobile tax, we drove our convoys through. We had like Advon, the advanced cantonment area set up people. They went first, and we had Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, and each element, or alpha element was like 50 vehicles with their tow. Some of them, we didn't have a tow on some of the vehicles, but in each state we got it. When we crossed the border from Germany and Denmark, we started seeing all these people lined up alongside the road, throwing flowers and waving the little American flags and Danish flags as we drove by, waving and cheering at us. You know, I'll never forget that in my entire life. And to deploy troops to Greenland like we're going to invade Greenland militarily, that is stupid beyond stupid for both our countries. And it's an embarrassment. Okay. And to point that out is being positive. And that's positive. I mean, I'll never forget that. That's something that's deep down inside me, how I felt. I mean, men, women, and children, grandfathers, grandmothers, their sons and daughters, and all the way down to their own daughters and sons, whatever, and their neighbors, all out there on the road, thousands by the thousands and thousands, every city we went through, they're waving the American flag, almost like throwing confetti. I felt like a hero. And that's the showing their appreciation for us liberating them from Nazi Germany, from the true fascist, right? We liberated their country, and they were showing their gratefulness. See, this stories like this is what our children need to hear in our schools, in our public schools. And it's a shame that they keep on going and throttling this channel back and shadow banning this channel the way they do. It's just a shame. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, so demographics. I don't want to read the AI BS. The official language of Greenland is Greenlandic. The number of speakers of Greenlandic is estimated 50,000. 85 to 90% of the total population, divided in three main dialects. I can't pronounce it. Kaula Lisut, West Greenlandic, 44,000 speakers, and the dialect that is used as official language. Okay. Tunumit, East Greenlandic, 3,000 speakers, and Inuktun, North Greenlandic, 800 speakers. The remainder of the population mainly speaks Danish. Greenlandic Sign Language is the language of the deaf community. Okay. Okay. Greenlandic is not only the national language, but is now the official language in Greenland by virtue of Act number 473 adopted by Parliament 12 June 2009, the Act on Greenland Self-Government. Studying Danish and English is mandatory for students in compulsory schools and also part of many secondary level study programs. So knowledge of the two languages is widespread. So you hear that? Most Greenlanders speak the English language because it's required. It's compulsory. Means it's mandatory, right? And I used a story about for example, air traffic control. That's basically air traffic control, no matter where you are, is basically conducted by international language. Now, I mean English as the international language. So everybody's on the same sheet of music, so there's no mishaps, near misses, or air-to-air fatalities, or fatalities on the runways, or whatever, taking off or landing. If you can't speak English, you're going to have a hard time trying to land that plane, right? So that's the reason why they have to learn English. And it had something to do with World War II as well. Let me see. What was the population? I'm not going to go back and research the population
of Greenlanders in the number of Greenlanders in World War II, but okay. Got only one person on Rumble. Throttling me back on Rumble as well. This is ridiculous. Come on, RH. I thought you're going to be positive. Yeah, most of the night I've been talking about positive things. Shining the spotlight on corruption is so there can be accountability. That's positive in my opinion. So, been positive about the trajectory, the vertical trajectory of silver. I'm positive about it, but I'm not an economic advisor, so people have the free will to invest in whatever they want. I don't know about anybody else, but $4,800 for 1 ounce of gold is quite a hefty price, right? Quite hefty. Could you imagine if you could have bought into gold and say your grandparents he bought it in and basically passed it on as an inheritance for their children and bought gold when it was like only $100 an ounce and stored it somewhere, kept it somewhere hidden, and gave their, like, you think about it now. Say they just found a map, right? Where they hid gold when it was worth only like $100 an ounce back then, in those days, whatever. And now it's worth like $4,800 an ounce. Wow. That'd be something, wouldn't it? Okay, so I talked about pretty much everything I wanted to talk about tonight. I appreciate everybody listening, even though, maybe some people come in later, even after they shadow banned this channel really hard tonight. 0 viewers, and basically, coming from thousands of views for single live streams. I mean, literally thousands of views for single live streams. One live stream I had over 4,000 viewers. It was like that almost every night, right? Down to 0 viewers, right? One just popped up. I guess they did it to make me feel good, right? So anyways, yep, that's the way they do it. That's the way we do it. Uh-huh. Yep, we know it. Okay, so there's one other thing I want to shine the spotlight of truth on, which is positive. They've already taken over AI and loaded their algorithms. They're already basically starting to use it. Any story you look up now about Trump, AI, it's not positive. Like 90% of it is negative. And that's the reason why President Trump went out there to, it's still today, right? It's not midnight yet. It's not the 21st yet. This is his year anniversary being in office the second term. So we have to go in and listen to his the information he gave us today and think about promises kept. Think about how positive that is. But we're caught on, remember, they're going, well, they're making it look like AI is just a bunch of robots, right? Well, you had to have programmers. You had to program in the algorithm, the anti-Trump algorithms, right? So it's all going to be biased right before the midterms. Another way to rig elections. So what is the FCC going to do? Are they going to get on top of this now before it's too late? Before these communists take total control of our country? Okay, we've exposed them. They're already exposed. President Trump, whatever the cabinet members, I think it was, of Trump's went over to the WEF, World Economic Forum, and basically pointed out, you guys can get
gas and oil, and you're basically transitioning to windmills and solar energy, and you got all this oil and gas. I mean, America can sell it to you, export it to you, and you're buying it from Russia to keep them fighting in the war. So what about, I mean, how hypocritical can they get than that? They hate Trump because they're far left. They're socialists. They're communists. They've turned into communists. They turned to communism. That's the one world order. The WEF. That's what was pointed out by one of Trump's cabinet members today. And you're giving up all the oil and gas prospects that are from imports that you can receive, and you're diverting everything to solar panels and electric cars and windmills, and you don't even make batteries in the European Union. You don't even make batteries. Think about that. How stupid. So all their batteries are coming from where? China. China. And they're working with China now directly. I guess Canada went out basically the head of the Bank of England. He's now the Prime Minister of Canada, working for the crown. Which crown, right? Part of the other eye, right? Part of the other eyes. UK and who else? UK and Canada. It's two of the other eyes. Working out a deal directly with China. You can't make this stuff up. You know, you can't make this stuff up. Let's go back to the photosynthesis, right? Process. What do trees do? Well, remember all that carbon dioxide we put out in our air with those combustible motor engines, whatever? Who feeds on that? The trees. The trees feed on it, right? You're going to go down to net zero carbon? How are you going to do that? You can't even build batteries. You don't even build batteries. What happens if you don't like, okay, so you want to turn the entire EU, the globalists want to turn the entire EU, the entire world to be dependent on solar power, windmills, and electric cars. And the EU doesn't even build batteries. They can't even manufacture their own batteries. I mean, how stupid can you get? And punish your people like subjects and put them through that horrible, where they can't even pay to keep their own homes warm during the wintertime. Think about it. All you Danish people out there, or German people out there, think about it. And as far as Nord Stream 2 being bombed, who you want to blame with that? Well, I guess it suits your agenda to go all basically solar and windmills, right? And EV cars, right? Even though you can't even manufacture your own batteries. So your buddy Joe, little Uncle Joe there, he's the one that admitted that basically he was going to take out Nord Stream 2. One of the reporters asked him, okay, well, how are you going to do that since basically Germany's in charge of the operation? He basically turned and said to her, you'll see, but believe me, Nord Stream 2 will be no more. Was Nord Stream 2 no more? Wasn't it taken out? Yes, it was. See, when Trump was the president, they didn't even build Nord Stream 2 with the agreements that Trump worked out with Russia, right? The sanctions and all that stuff. They're going to show Angela Merkel, remember her? She was going to show that dictator, Donald Trump, that free market guy, that dictator, right? The fascist dictator of the West. She was really going to show him. And look at the horrible punishment she gave to her subjects, her citizens of Denmark. Are y'all listening over there? I don't think so. And how can you listen whenever they throttle back on this channel, shadow ban this channel, right? How can you hear this message? And that's exactly why they're blocking this channel. Exactly why. So, okay, so I'm going to end on a positive note. They've all been caught, and I guess they've expanded with Gitmo. They made some expansions on the space and amount of cells that they have in Gitmo, right? The number of cells, number of personnel, okay? The security, all right? So they're waiting now, those military tribunals committed treason, basically, and you basically was had something to do with the Serbia machines, whatever, and you're caught on that, and we got people in custody, protective custody, waiting for discovery. And believe me, there's not going to be exculpatory information. You can lie all you want to. You can't find a crooked judge, because guess what? If you got a Gitmo staff judge advocate in Gitmo that basically runs the trial, oversees the trial, and if he's bought and paid for, he's going to see Leavenworth. Quick trial, GI. Can't play those stupid games like you play like in these far left-wing states like California and New York. Those games end. When it goes down to a military tribunal, guess what? It's going to be, well, I'm going to plead the fifth. Sir, answer the question. I'm going to plead the fifth. Sir, you're going to be contempt of court if you do not answer that question. Can't play those little stupid slime job freaking games that they play now in these corrupt courts, right? Can't do that. And you can arrest a judge, by the way. You have to impeach them first. If they committed a crime, you got the evidence, you can indict. You can have a secret grand jury. They come out with an indictments. Guess what? You can arrest them. They have two choices. Okay, you're going to be arrested. You can't serve in prison, right? And you might be you might impose a threat, a flee threat. No, like the runaway, whatever. A flight risk. They might be a flight risk, so they might have to be incarcerated because they got a lot of people protecting these guys and gals too. By the way, especially those what do you call those sanctuary crime states and cities around our country. Yeah, I do believe they're going to start to be held accountable But the priority right now is get those terrorist insurgents that they brought in and those military insurgents out of our country. Now, just because they're not wearing a military uniform doesn't mean they didn't belong to a foreign communist type country and adversary of our country. So whoever's hiring these people, that's going to be found out as well. They're going to track the money. This year, 2026. It's not the 1800s. Okay, so with that said, we're going to end on the positive note. There's going to be accountability. Right now, the focus and the priority is getting out all those really, really bad people that were brought in partially through the National Democratic Redistricting Committee organization of Eric Holder and Barack Obama's. So remember, Organizing for Action, go read it. It went in stages from ACORN to Organizing for Action to the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Those are the people involved in facilitating and directing the invasion into our country, going against Article 4, Section 4 of our Constitution. Go look it up. The justification for President Trump to undo the invasion is right there in the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. I don't care if their policy was open borders or whatever. I don't care. That's not the supreme law of the land. It doesn't say the United States guarantees to each state and union a Republican form of government and guarantees invasion and domestic violence. No, it says the opposite. Go look it up. That's the total justification for the President of the United States and the Commander-in-Chief, dual hat, President Trump, to do his job. And that's what he's doing. And I'm going to end on that note. And thank God for President Trump. Thank God for President Trump. And thank you, President Trump, for reminding us the priority for far as holding people accountable. It has to be this way. I see no other way. Because these traitors brought in some very nasty people. And we're sick of it. We're sick of it. And with that said, good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you're from. This concludes the live stream. And remember, in God we trust. Everyone else, trust but verify. Good night.